Ever been there? You've got a big assignment due tomorrow, but instead of you to crack open the books, you find yourself scrolling through endless TikTok feeds and been watching your favorite show. We've all been victims of procrastination, but it's time to break free from this cycle. In this video, I'll share proven strategies to help you conquer procrastination and unlock your full potential. By the end, you'll be equipped to take control of your time and achieve your goals. For the first part, we're going to be diving into why you procrastinate. And the common reasons why teens and young adults procrastinate are fear of failure, perfectionism, and lack of motivation. For fear of failure, I think one of the good examples I can use to describe this is you are a guy, you see that girl you want to approach, and you are a lady, you see that handsome guy you want to approach. So now think about it. The first thing that kind of comes to your mind is, what if that person says no? What if they reject me? What if they don't like me back? But if you actually think about it, there's no way you can actually find out if they like you or not if you don't approach them. So with kind of to help you with this, I would say consider the two types of regret. I learned this from Coach Michael Burt. And one is the regret of at least I tried. And the second is the regret of I wish I had tried. So now let's say you approach the person and they say no. So the bottom line is that you learn something or you learn something better that you can use in another case. But let's say later down the line you were to discover that that person actually liked you. Then you have the regret of I wish I had. So out of those two regrets, which one would you be in? So don't just put it in that aspect, put it in another aspect and use it. Perfectionism. So this video I'm currently doing for you now is a very wonderful example for me to use to describe this. If you know how many minutes I have spent trying to shoot this section of this video, see this video I have here, this is a good example. Do you know how many times, if you knew, you would cry for me? So a lot of us struggle with, we want the delivery to be on point, we want to do it right, and that sometimes can lead us to start pushing things back till that perfect time to do it. But one thing I've learned so far is that there is no perfect time to do it. So once, I think a good thing to do is just put it in, just start is basically the key to perfectionism and lack of motivation. And I know every single body on the planet, successful people, non-successful people, go through this. But one thing I can say is that those days where that motivation isn't there, you are down, those are the days that separate successful people from people that are not going to be successful. So now I want you to replace this motivation and tweak it a bit. For you to be able to separate yourself during those days, I want you now to have a why, your why as your motivation. Why am I doing this? Why am I chasing this? I want you to really sit down and craft that why, that big why you have, that purpose, that thing that that even though you were very, very sleepy and you remember that reason, you will get up from your bed and go and do what you have to do. Then with that why as your motivation, I want you to now partner it with discipline. So if you can partner your discipline with your why, my gosh, those days when they are testing people that, okay, there's no motivation, are you going to go or not? You are going to be among those people that are going to separate yourself and go. And of course, everything has a consequence. If you are in school, you will see that you might start having lower grades due to procrastination. If you are trying to figure out life, you might see yourself missing opportunities that were like plainly in front of you. And if you're kind of figuring it out, or you're kind of in that process, you might just start seeing yourself feeling stressed. So if you can relate to any of this, let me know in the comments. Before the next point, I will appreciate if you can hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 300 subscribers before the end of the year. So for the second part of this video, we're going to be talking about practical tips to overcome procrastination. The first tip is time management. So I'm going to explain how I process my own week/days. So you can use it to plan your weeks, or you can use it to plan your days. So firstly, I came up with something on my mind, which was PPE, which is plan, Second P is also plan, and the E is execute. So now for the first planning session, this is what I do. So I have this list. I don't know if you can see it, but this is every single task I have to do in a week. So this is for a week. So yours might be for a day. So this is every single task I have to do in the week. Even those small little ones, still put them on this list. Then the next thing I also want you to do after writing this down is, okay, we have TP. So what does TP stand for? TP stands for top priorities. And we also have BD. What does BD stand for? Brain dump. So now we're going to take this list now. Based on every single thing we wrote, you're going to now identify each task as either a TP, top priority, or a BD, brain dump. So once you are done with that first planning session, you've gotten your list of activities for the day and for the week. You've identified them as top priorities and some as brain dumps. So now the second stage for me personally is I add them to my calendar. So now, or some of you might not prefer calendar, some of you might just prefer standard to-do list, which is fine, whichever works for you. So now let's say today is Monday. Now what I would suggest you do is that, okay, so pick out the top priorities you have to accomplish that Monday and put them in your calendar first. So put those ones first. Okay, editing video 4 hours, put those ones first. Then if you have, let's say, spare couple of hours in between, then you can slot the brain dumps inside. So at the end of the day, your major focus was to get or accomplish top priorities rather than filling your calendar with a bunch of small activities that won't necessarily make you feel great at the end of the day. Now the E, execute. Let's say we wake up now, it's time to execute all these things. This is a really important aspect because putting all those in the calendar, it feels good. You're going to be like, I'm going to be productive, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. But then if you don't execute properly, you're not going to do nothing. What I would say is that some of us have heard of the Pomodoro technique, which is 25 minutes on, with a 5-minute break, and you keep on doing that till you accomplish a specific task. So what I would say, me personally, I don't do 25-5. So let's say I was editing a video for 4 hours. What I usually do is I have an hour, then maybe 10 or to 5 minutes to kind of like maybe walk around, go take a cup of water, go use the bathroom, whatever it might be for you. But I would say it's something you can customize to yourself. So if you feel 25-5 does not work for you, try an hour and 10. Kind of play around with it to find what works best for you. The second tip is to shift your mindset. And one way you can achieve this is through positive affirmation. We have a kind of a reading we say to ourselves every morning in front of the mirror. Some of us say it at night before we go to bed, which that is totally fine. But another one I also want you to focus on that also helps this too is kind of what goes on in here. So I'm sure we've heard this a lot, is as a man thinketh, so is he. You are in school. When they give you that challenging task or homework to do or project to do, what do you tell yourself? Do you say words like, I don't think I can do it, it's too hard? Or do you say words like, okay, that's challenging, it will be a really awesome thing to try or put effort into? So those two words are different. I won't say go crazy with what you tell yourself, but try and make sure that no matter the situation, you are trying to say positive things to yourself. And one other last way you can actually use to shift your mindset is through mindfulness and meditation. So now, me personally, I haven't been able to start meditating or things like that, but my own way of kind of how I've learned it is from Coach Michael Burt, which is you rest, you practice, and you perform. So now a lot of us, I being one of them, it's like we just work Monday to Sunday, go. It's like anytime we're not working, we're not doing the best for ourselves. So let's use a common example. Let's use footballers. So footballers, they go out, they play ball, but do they play ball every single minute of the day? No. There are times where they rest to recover themselves, to rejuvenate themselves. And there are times where they practice, they go to training, they go to build themselves. In this case, that's you building skills, learning this, learning that, reading, and then they execute. They go for the match, the big day. Then you execute, maybe you go to work, maybe you go to school for that exam. So basically use this to kind of help you, so that you don't just go every day, but you actually put in your week, you have a rest, you have a practice, and you have a perform. Before the next point, I will appreciate if you can hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 300 subscribers before the end of the year. The third tip is creating a productive environment. And one way you can do this is decluttering your workspace. So now a lot of us maybe have somewhere we usually do the most or majority of our work. And one thing I will encourage us to do is, keep that place clean and organized. For me, or for most of you, there's nothing better than having a clean environment where you can think. You don't have to you're not trying to look for that particular document and you can't find it. It's somewhere in between all those books. Everything is scattered. You would see yourself just getting stressed and you just end up doing like this every single time. Oh my gosh, this is happening. So what I'll suggest for that is, if you could actually, if you have a timer like this, I think I bought this on Amazon, it's very cheap. So if you have a timer like this, you can set it to like 5 minutes. You can set it to like 5 minutes. Okay, you're going to spend 5 minutes, you just click it. You're going to spend 5 minutes cleaning your workspace, and that is before you close, let's say before you leave or before you go to bed. And also, if maybe let's say you left it unorganized the night before, clean it before you actually start working. So don't start working if you haven't been able to clear or clean up your workspace. Another way to achieve that is minimizing distractions. In the world we live in today, for people like us, we have Instagram, we have this, we have that, we have Snapchat, whatever it is for you. I would say the best thing for us now is to minimize those distractions. So we can indulge in some of them, but it shouldn't be in control of us. We should be in control of it. So some ways that I would suggest for you to be in control of how you use social media is a social media timer. So a lot of us phones nowadays should have something that you can kind of like select, okay, on Instagram, once it's this time, log me off. You are no longer on Instagram. It takes you completely out. It kind of takes you off. I know sometimes you can give it the option to go in, but that alone causes a bit of friction for you to go back in. There are some apps that are even more strict than that. And another thing I also suggest is, okay, let's say you work here. This is your workspace, you want to start working. If you can get this out of that room, maybe take it, if you are, let's say, take it to another room, just drop it there, drop it somewhere else. Just make sure it's not somewhere around you, so that when it kind of rings, you don't kind of look to check, then you see yourself you have spent over 30 minutes from just checking one single message. But there's also another way you can actually use it as a reward. So let's say for me now, let's say I'm editing for 4 hours. If I'm able to edit for that 4 hours and be productive, by the way, what does productive mean in that case? Let's say I achieved that goal for that day. Let's say the goal was to add b-roll, add sound effects, cut all the fluffs as much as possible, and I achieve all that. Then I can say, okay, doing that, I can then go to my phone and use social media for like 10 minutes or something like that. But please don't make the reward something crazy. The fourth tip is overcoming fear of failure. And I spoke about this earlier in the video, and this is honestly a very big struggle. And some ways you can overcome it is embracing mistakes. So this is, how do you interpret situations or things that happen to you? A lot of us, the major reason why we fear failure is because we don't want to make a mistake. We don't want to do that, and most of us we make some mistakes and we get punished for it. But one thing I want to for you to try and do is try and change your mindset around mistakes. I want you to view mistakes as, okay, I made this mistake today, so this is an opportunity for me to learn this and not make the mistake again. Another one is setting realistic goals. A lot of us, we focus on having 2025, that big goal. I want to do this, I want to do that. That's great, but one thing I will encourage us to do is breaking those goals down. A year, break it down to months. Months, break it down to weeks. Weeks, break it down to days. So that kind of helps you, not feel overwhelmed with, wow, I have this big goal. How do I want to achieve it? But then if you've broken everything down, it's like, okay, if I'm able to do this every single day for the next year, I'm guaranteed to achieve that goal. But one thing I've learned so far on my YouTube journey for the past, I would say 6 months, is that, every single time you try something, you learn something from it. If you go back and take a look at my first video, that was me on my dining table using my phone's front camera and just use my laptop to support it, and I was just talking, no structure. I was just basically blabbing from my brain. If you see the quality that time was like, but now you can see that every upload, every single thing, you can see one little tiny improvement. And if you look over that 6 months, you will see that there has been a big change. So I'm not saying this to kind of make it to you guys like I'm trying to brag or make a point on something. I'm just saying that is how I have actually done that, and you can also do it in various other aspects of your lives. So please don't allow fear to hold you back from trying something new. Now it's time to put these tips into action. Start small, be consistent, and celebrate your successes. And if you need more help structuring your day, click the video on the screen. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and also comment the topics you would like to see covered on this channel. And on that note, I'll see you on the other side.